All right. Little computer hiccup, but we're back to run through this week's games.
Yeah, just kind of finish out what we're talking about. We went over Denver, Yale, and North Dakota, Cornell. Um, and how I think right when it crashed, you were talking about how it should be more tightly contested because Cornell is ranked decently and they're usually right in the mix with everything. Uh, then Miami plays RPI and uh, honestly, if Miami pulls out a win, then I'll be interested. They're just bad.
Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute.
Like Miami's just bad.
Hey, they've got some wins. Two, I think. No, one actual win. What is their actual record? No, they're 3-3-2. They're 3-3-2.
Are they 3-3-2?
3-3-2.
Whose JV team did they beat?
They're 4 wins away from tying last year's win total.
They're
Already.
still just bad.
Hey, they only have to win 2 games in conference to do better than last year. They have the new coach. You know, this year is a year of him instilling his culture.
Thanks, PJ.
They have wins over Anchorage and Lindenwood. Those are their wins. 2 against Anchorage, 1 against Lindenwood. First year, install your culture.
Thanks, PJ.
Hey, you know, we don't need to talk about him. We could talk about Dan Campbell, who has instilled a winning culture in Detroit the last few years. Really, since that first year, he's turned it around. So
He also encourages biting kneecaps.
it's working, though.
It is working.
They have not lost back-to-back games since they were 1-6 2 years ago. That's all I'm saying. And
And then the
everyone who
last,
has played them this year has lost the following week. So if you lose to the Lions, you really lose 2 games in one.
yeah,
And if you
didn't
beat the
help that we
Lions, you're still probably going to lose the next week.
didn't help that we only had 5 days, but it it was still a poor performance. Anyway, last one is the Pikes Peak Trophy series between Air Force and Colorado College.
See, I mean, I guess it's the same thing we were kind of talking about with the one-off games. Like, if you have a trophy, I feel like it should be, and I think they do. I don't. We asked, was it Alex, Nick? What was his name? Broadmoor Buttes last time about the uh, Gold Pan Trophy, and that like they play one series to determine it or whatever instead of just one game to determine it. And I kind of hope that only one game really counts as like the Pikes Peak Trophy game.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you're playing a 2-game series, right, and the only way the trophy can change hands is on a sweep, like I don't know, it's silly. It's a little bit silly.
Well, that's we had a basketball that our main rival. We always played them in, once at home, once away, kind of for sections, whatever. But there was a trophy that was in place, and it was always one of the games, and I think it was the second game because you play home and away the next year, you were away and home, and whatever that second game was, that was the trophy game. It wasn't like, oh, you play this one game and then you play the other one, and then, well, if one team wins both, they get to keep the trophy or
Yeah,
they
like
get the trophy.
maybe I think that's how they do the Gold Pan though. I think that's literally how they do it between Colorado and Denver, if I remember
It's just dumb.
right. but I think this one might be just one of the game counts for the trophy, kind of like when Michigan and Michigan State play in Detroit. They play for a separate trophy, but it's part of their 4 game schedule every year. I mean, if not, or if nothing else, like make like I don't know, a Rocky Mountain tournament or some shit, and invite Denver every year, Colorado College, Air Force, and pick somebody to be the next school.
Yeah, I mean, technically you could maybe bring in Arizona State, or like you said, do 3 and then bring in a rotating 4th school,
Yeah,
whoever you want. North Dakota, Mankato, Omaha, Miami, if you want to have a cupcake in there.
one of the Alaskas if you want it to be another mountain school.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually a fun idea. I think that would be a good tournament. Um, CC and Denver, they're gonna get sick of each other, but it's
I mean,
not any different. It's not any different than the Bean Pot.
yeah, and we had 50 some years of the GLI that at one point just was Michigan, Michigan State, and Michigan Tech for years and years and years, and Michigan State and Michigan because they can't let anybody else have anything nice in the state, so they have to come in and ruin it.
Yeah,
But
I don't think that's a bad idea. I wonder if they've talked about that at all.
tournaments come and go, though. I mean, really, the only 2 that I know of that have survived the longest period of time are the Beanpot and the GLI. There's been the Icebreaker is not always considered like a tournament.
Hmm.
There used to be Notre Dame used to have the Shillelagh tournament that they did for a couple years. Vegas hosted a tournament for like 2 years, a holiday tournament. I think that's it. I mean, there might have been other ones that have come and gone too that I'm not thinking of, but I mean, you could do one with like the Minnesota teams at, just literally the 4 minute, kind of like the Beanpot, but with Minnesota teams, or the 5 Minnesota teams rotate one out every year or something.
I think we have 5. No, I'm saying
Yeah,
UMD,
Minnesota,
Bemidji,
Duluth, Bemidji, St. Cloud State, Minnesota State, St. Thomas. You have like 6,
6. Yeah, I forgot about St. Thomas. We have 6 now.
but I mean, you could almost do like Minnesota, maybe rotate by conference. So like Minnesota would be like a mainstay, Bemidji would be a mainstay because they're Big Ten CCHA.
Well, Mankato CCHA too.
Okay, so Bemidji and Mankato might rotate year in and year out. And then St. Cloud, St. Thomas, and Duluth could rotate in, where you pick like 2 if they're whatever. But like you could have almost
Yeah,
a
yeah,
3
because St.
conference
Thomas.
Tournament.
Yeah, because St. Thomas is
They'll be
I mean, they're
NCHC.
CCHA, but they will be NCHC.
Yeah.
Uh, and then if you just want to do one from like Minnesota would always be in it because Big Ten, but then rotate between Bemidji State and Mankato, UMD, St. Cloud, St. Thomas, and then bring Augustana in because they're right there in Sioux Falls. Might as well bring them in or bring in North Dakota. Not screw North Dakota.
I mean,
Forget that
you
idea.
have enough teams that you could do like an all Minnesota tournament,
Yeah.
kind of like Beanpot flavor ish. And you could do the same thing in Michigan too, because you have Michigan, Michigan State, Western, Ferris, Northern, Tech.
Lake Superior.
I was gonna say I think Lake Superior State technically counts as a Michigan school.
Yep.
You throw all of them together in a mitten tournament type thing. Like there's more. I mean, they could do more, but I mean the GLI is kind of the Michigan tournament, so you're not gonna necessarily do another one there. But there's all these regional tournaments that I think they could do during the winter. But again, it's how much money is there. the venues, the draw, um, things of that nature, building up the prestige and it actually running long enough to develop some prestige like the Bean Pot or the GLI, or not just going 2 years and then be like, we're gonna do something else now.
Yeah, and I think I don't. I think for Michigan, it's a little bit. If you wanted to do the mitten tournament, it's a little tough for like Northern and Tech, and Lake Superior to come down and have more of a central location because it's a lot further for those schools to travel and the fans. Where in Minnesota, you have the Gophers, St. Thomas, right in the Twin Cities. St. Cloud's an hour away. Mankato is an hour away. UMD's 2.5 hours away. Bemidji is the only one that's a little further, and that's only 3 hours away
Yeah. Well,
for
I mean,
for them to come down.
like I said, I mean the GLI is again kind of the Michigan tournament,
Yeah.
really. And that's technically it's hosted by Michigan Tech. They just come down to now Grand Rapids instead of Detroit. But yeah, they're making a trek to host that tournament. And then
Hmm.
Michigan State and Michigan were technically closer to Detroit when it was held in Detroit than they are now. Um, but Minnesota State's still there every year. And then now they rotate two teams in. Um, and it could be from anywhere. I don't think it's necessarily quite the straight Great Lakes region, but like this year, I think it's four Michigan teams this year. I think it's Northern, Tech, State, and Western this year.
Still amazes me that Northern was able to put together a team that quickly.
And not playing god awful. I mean, they did get swept by Arizona this year, but or Arizona State this last weekend.
Yeah, but still, hey, they're out there, they're playing. Good for
Yeah.
them.
So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I think there's opportunities for it. It's just a matter of developing the funding and a venue and all that. And sometimes that could be the biggest hurdle is finding a venue that is appropriate and functioning.
I think once St. Thomas opens their arena, that would be a good thing, their new arena. That'd be kind of a good place to have it. Um, and you can rotate it around the state too. That's the thing. Like I was saying, everything is it's not a bad drive for a weekend. You get off of work, say you get off work 5:30, you're up in Duluth by 7:30, 8 o'clock ish. You're in St. Cloud by 6:30, Mankato by 6:30. Bemidji is the only bar one. Uh, but maybe when St. Thomas opens up their new arena, once that thing is finally built, that would be a good thing for them to host. Because then, who doesn't? Uh, this was my family vacation. A lot of times was just coming to the Twin Cities. So a lot of people come down here. There's a bunch of stuff to do around here. Why not?
All right. Yeah. I mean, that's a good enough spot to end it. Um, four teams off this weekend, so filling out the roster is going to be fun for us.
Yeah, that'll be a
So
great time.
Arizona State's not playing. Western's not playing. Duluth is not playing, and Omaha's not playing.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
So figure that out here, and then we'll get those, or at least get that to me so I can do that. We can update that though. Good weekend for me, bad weekend for you.
Yeah, that's kind of the trend.
I think the overall, each day is a game for us. I am leading 7-2, which means you are at 2-7.
Yep. Oh well.
So of this two-man league, you are the Miami. That's as good a place as
I
any to end it.
I will proudly wear that badge.
So till the next episode. I mean, there's some YouTube things you can do them. You don't have to, and it's gonna be weird because this is a shorter part of a part 2. The other part is there, and it's gonna do its own thing. So who knows what the hell this week's gonna look like? Don't even worry about it. But till the next episode. Pucks on net. Good things happen like Go Horns and Fight songs. We are out of here. Bye.